Hi, and welcome to podcast number 2 for Dirty Moms Yoga. I am Molly. Thank you for joining in again. I don't know if you caught the first one, but we're just trying to have some fun as I've been put on bed rest for my pregnancy. And so to kind of just keep the channel moving and putting up content, I decided to do a podcast. I was going to do a vlog, but I'm not really that super creative, and there's not much to video log when all you're doing is sitting in bed. So it turned more into a podcast. So a couple friends basically suggested that I talk about what it means to be a high-risk pregnancy, and that's how this podcast started. So I am currently 27 weeks as of today, and I am super excited about that. And even though 27 is a pretty unlucky number, if you look at that number in the world and things that happen with 27, I'm taking it as a good sign, because that means a few things. We reached viability, so we're past viability now. We also, with help of my OB team, I did some supplemental shots to speed up the growth of baby's lungs, just in case I do end up delivering early, which is the concern, is that I will deliver early. And that's partially the main reason why I'm considered high risk, is due to past losses within my life. We had a pretty big miscarriage / stillborn. Blueberry would be 5. No, she would not be 5. Yeah, she'd be 5. Holy cow. Blueberry would be 5 this coming up September, which ironically is also when I am due with this baby, almost to the date. So it's been pretty exciting, scary, very scary. But because they put me on high risk, when I started developing a lot of pressure in my pelvis, which was around 20 weeks, so 7 weeks ago now, they decided that it was best for me to go on some limited bed rest. And they did pelvic rest for me in my first trimester after some spotting, and then that went away, and then I went back to work. I was doing great, and then when that pressure really just became uncomfortable and didn't seem right, they threw me on bed rest, and that's been extremely difficult. And I talked about that a little bit on my first podcast, but I'm going to go into a little bit more today on the mental aspect that does to you. When my OB team mentioned and told me that I was going to need to be on bed rest, and that basically work was done for right now, because my job is running around and bending a lot, and I'm on my feet for sometimes 10 plus hours a day. And I loved my job. And when they told me that I was going to have to go on bed rest, their main concern that they kept thinking about was the financial side of it. I understand this is going to be really difficult financially for you. It's the best that you can do for the baby right now. Absolutely. Financially, absolutely, yes. It is a big stress. And it is very difficult. But one thing that nobody actually mentioned and talked about was the mental health that this takes on me, and in turn what that can take the toll on the baby as well. So I've been reading some articles, and they actually have noticed that a lot of moms who experience depression throughout pregnancy have a higher risk of postpartum depression afterwards. And when I started reading those articles, I said to myself, yeah, we're not going to go down that road. We're going to do everything that we can mentally so that this does not happen. I don't have a history of depression or anxiety. I've never been diagnosed. I do have anxiety. It's undiagnosed, it's self-diagnosed, but I notice things that I do. I've had bouts of depression as well, but nothing, thankfully, that has been of extreme concern where I needed to be put on medication or seek out counseling or a therapist for. So that was always really positive. So a few weeks ago, I started noticing some depression. Anxiety is always kind of there, but I handle it. I think okay. Zach may say otherwise. But I noticed that depression was starting to hit, and I had a couple days where I didn't want to do anything, and I had one day where I was in bed and I couldn't help it. I just would cry, and I don't know why. Some of it's probably hormonal, who knows? But being essentially locked in a bedroom or sitting on my front room couch and seeing the world continue and go on is really hard. And while we've been pretty much on lockdown already due to the pandemic, this is different. Now, I can't go anywhere because it hurts. Not only for the health and safety for myself, because I'm the only one now throughout my circle, my family, and the friends that I do get to see, the few that do come and see me, I'm the only one that's not vaccinated. And that will change soon, but because of that, I can't go anywhere. And then because of the pressure in my pelvis, I can't go anywhere. I haven't been to Target. I don't even know the last time I went to Target. It's been at least, I would say probably 7 weeks, because I got put on bed rest around 20 weeks. So it's been almost 2 months since I've stepped into a store, really gone anywhere outside of my home. And that can take a big toll on your mental health. So Zach must have noticed this, because a few weeks ago, he came upstairs on his break. So Guy's in remote learning, our son, and he's done with school at 3:00, which is when Zach takes his lunch break. And he comes upstairs, he goes, "Let's go for a walk. I know you're not supposed to, but let's just take it a house at a time. And we'll go as far as you're comfortable with, and then we'll turn around and we'll come back." So I started doing that. And at first it would just be like 1 or 2 houses, because there's a lot of fear in my head that something's going to happen, or that, that pain's going to come back and it's going to cause something, either my cerclage to pop or go into early labor as well. So we started small, and every day he comes in, it's like walking a dog. He takes me for my walk. So him and Guy, I walk really slow, and I go down, and I can make it all the way down to the end of my block to the stop sign. That's as far as I'm comfortable with. And then we turn around, come back home, and that's what I do. And then I noticed that it did start helping me. Changing the weather, sunshine always helps me as well. But getting out and just kind of moving, and Guy would run up and down the sidewalk or ride his bike, and just having that simple time with Zach was really nice. He'd ask how I was feeling, and he's very protective of me, very protective of baby right now. And he would just, it was kind of like sometimes a bitch session, like, "Oh, my SI is killing me today," or, "Let's only go a couple houses. My SI feels out, so it really hurts. I can feel the tightness here." And a lot of it's just me bitching and him listening. But it feels nice, and it changed my mental attitude. And sorry, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm rubbing my belly. Baby is pushing like crazy. I just had lunch. So if the audio is really wonky, it's me rubbing my belly. So, that really helped. But there's one thing that I can't do. And the hardest part about all of this is I'm gonna cry. It's having your 7-year-old, who you play with all the time, outside, all the time, catch, frisbee, badminton, volleyball, basketball, hiking, walking, riding bikes, walking the dog, all of that, is what we do every single day, all day long, especially now with summer coming up. And having him come up and say, "Mommy, let's play catch." And I can if I'm sitting down in my chair. But as I'm catching, and he's 7 years old, ball usually goes over my head, so he has to run and get it, and he'll hand it to me. And then he goes, "No, I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Okay, well, what else do you want to do, buddy?" "Let's play badminton." "Okay, well, I can try to do that, but again, I'm sitting in my chair." And he goes, "No, that's okay. I don't want to do that." And just see his face. Just see the disappointment on his face. It's so hard. I didn't think I was going to cry. It's so difficult because I know he understands a little bit. He doesn't fully understand. I know he doesn't. He's 7. I don't expect him to. But just to see his little face and that disappointment in him makes the mental health so difficult, because all I want to do is play catch with him and walk the dog and find new games for him. Every summer we find something new. Play washers or teach him bags or cornhole. And I can a little bit, but in his eyes, it's not the same. And so in his eyes, he can't. And it's not every day. He does, he's got moments where he's really understanding. And he's super helpful. He's just the sweetest little boy. But then those days that he needs somebody, he needs, his mom to play with him like she used to, she usually does, is extremely difficult. Whew. All right. He is getting better. I'm very proud of him. He actually yesterday he's been doing good. He's starting to understand, and Zach is actually in the process of getting a new job. Yay! And so he might have more time to be able to play with Guy as well. But sometimes you need your mommy. And then on top of that is the duties that fall upon Zach with a high-risk pregnancy like this. When I got put on bed rest, we already had a list of things that we needed to do and that we wanted to do before baby came in September. And that list quadrupled for Zach when I got put on bed rest, because everything that was on my list is now over onto his list. And so the things that I needed to do and wanted to do, I'm asking him to do now. And some things we had to just say, that's not going to happen. It's now been, I've had 2 plans within the last year and a half to redo our basement, to build a bedroom down there, because we are only in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with full basement, partially finished. And there's room down there, which we're going to build out. Or no, we're not building out. We're basically demoing the entire basement and reflooring it, replanning everything. And we're going to build a bedroom down there so that we'd have a 3-bedroom. And then eventually, hopefully, getting a 2nd bathroom, which is what I want. And that was supposed to happen the summer before the pandemic started. And then I lost my job, so that got pushed, because that money we needed to be able to financially support us while I was out of a job. So then I got a job. So then we were saving back that money. We were almost there again. And then we were getting ready. We're going to do it. Actually, it would be about right now. We would have been almost done, maybe, at least started on the basement. And because we were going to have we were going to build that basement out no matter what. And then I got pregnant. And that pushed it. Because, actually, no, let me say it. I got pregnant, so then that pushed us to get the basement done. But then I got put on bed rest. And when I got put on bed rest, I don't have a job. I have a job, but I'm not getting paid for my job because I can't do my job. My job is now literally to grow a baby and sit on my butt all day long. And so the basement then got pushed again. But in the process of all of that, there are things that we can do. So now we're trying to figure out how we're going to put baby in our bedroom, potentially for a year. Oh gosh, hopefully not. Our bedroom is large and we can fit baby in here, but it's going to be pretty tight quarters, but we can do it. But that means rearranging our bedroom. We had to get our dog out of her crate, which actually pleasantly has been really nice and decent. We have to figure out where baby's clothes are going to go because we don't have room in our closet. Our house was built in the 50s. The closets are like this big. We've got one in each bedroom, and that's about it. So all of these things that we're trying to do that, we were going to do anyways, I can't do physically. And so Zach has to do it. And that puts more pressure on him, along with now getting ready to start a new job. So the mental health again, I kind of talked about this on the first podcast as well, that mental health doesn't always just fall on the mom. It falls on the dad as well, and that's falling on Zach. And while he's handling it the best that he can, just like I'm handling it the best I can, and Guy's handling it the best he can, it is still extremely difficult. And if anybody else is experiencing that, I feel you, because it's extremely hard, and people don't tend to check on the dads, and they always check on the moms. So I have a handful of people, family and some friends, who are consistently checking on me, and I appreciate that so much. I really do. And a lot of them are checking on Guy. A couple of my friends in the neighborhood, my village, they've really stepped up and, have offered to just have him come out and play, because thankfully he is of that age that I can kind of let him go do a few things on his own, as long as it's nearby. I've had a couple moms step up and offer that as well, which has been really helpful. But no, none of them are asking about Zach. And if you are in this situation, check on the dads. If you are in any situation that entails loss or depression or anxiety, those that are the caretakers, check on them too, because they're suffering silently. They're doing the best they can, just as much as that person who is suffering. So I have my brother actually, and Zach's best friend Moss. Hey Moss. Those are the two that I'm aware of. There's probably others. Like I know his mom. I know my mother-in-law. I know is checking in, and probably his dad. But my brother has amazingly stepped up and has become a huge big brother to Zach, and calls him. He's probably called him 3-4 times already just to check on him. And I'm like, who's calling you? Brad's calling you, but not me? Hello, I'm his sister. But it makes me feel good, because it makes me happy that somebody is checking in on Zach. And they always ask about Guy. That's a given. But they're checking in on Zach and making sure that he's doing okay. Because if you know Zach, he won't ask for anything until it's too late, or until I force him to. And so I appreciate that, to those who have reached out and who are helping us. I just know I appreciate you. Yeah, that's pretty much what this podcast is about. Mental health and how we're getting through all of this. I'm going to end on a positive note, though, because I don't want these podcasts to be super long. I just want them to be little blips of information, and how we're doing and how we're handling things. So I normally get adjustments all the time. I've always gone to a chiropractor. I've always worked in a chiropractic office. That's where my job is. And I have not been able to get adjusted. I'm not cleared to get adjustments yet. And I'm going to start begging my OB team next week at my next appointment because my SI joint is whacked out of wackiness. Holy cow. And this pressure, I get a belly band, but it doesn't really do anything. And I'd show you my belly, but it's kind of hard. I'd probably knock over the camera. Maybe next time I'll figure out a way and I'll show you how this is actually, they did this. So I decided that, I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I went and got my belly taped up with kinesio tape at my chiropractor. So I reached out to him this morning. I was like, do you know how to do belly taping for pregnant women? He's like, absolutely. Duh, why didn't I think about this before? I was like, okay, I'm coming in today. So for the first time, besides visiting, I visited my in-laws who aren't far, and my sister-in-law's house was a little bit farther. I can't travel. So this is the longest trip I really got to do and got to see people. And it felt like self-care, actual self-care for myself. I even put makeup on. I didn't really do my hair. This is me doing my hair. But I put makeup on, and that made me even feel better. I don't always wear makeup anyways, but when you're sitting there in bed staring at yourself in this mirror and you look and feel like this frumpy, gross, fat thing, it changed. It made me feel so good. And I went in, I got to see my coworkers who I adore, and they've all been checking on me, and I got my belly taped. So they did this big, I got like two or three tapes, I can't remember what he did, that lifted up and helped remove some of the pressure off my pelvis to help with that belly weight. Because the belly band's not doing it. I don't know if I just got the wrong size, if I'm just not big enough yet, because I'm just hitting third trimester now. But man, that felt so good to see people and talk to people, and not just talk about me and the baby, but just to see how they were and what's going on with them. My one coworker is engaged and getting married. My other coworker bought a house, and it's just so pleasant. And to see my boss, I haven't seen her in so long, and she's the sweetest. I miss every single one of them. And I've only worked with them since September. We're in we're in June. We're going to be in June now. And their family, they snagged onto family status right away, and I appreciate every single one of them as well. And so really, we have a theme today, if you haven't noticed, and it's about appreciation, and it's finding the small things of appreciation to help you through your day. And it could be as small as being able to put makeup on, like I was able to today. I gotta sit down to do it, and I use a mirror that's about this big, but I can do it. And it made me feel good. And finding that self-care, just going and getting my belly taped. And some people will say that's a priority, and you're right, it is a priority. It's not a self-care. That shouldn't feel like self-care, but it was, and it is for me to do that. That was my self-care, and I appreciate it. That's my appreciation for today, is being able to do that and to recognize all those people who are checking in on us, all of us, and making sure that we're doing okay physically, but more importantly, mentally as well. So I'm going to end there. The appreciation post. Should have started off with that, but sometimes I just don't know where we're going to go until we start babbling away. So if you know somebody who's high risk, check in on them, check on their spouses, their partners as well, and find your appreciation today. No matter how big or how small, find that appreciation, find the light. It's there. Sometimes you got to dig your way out, and it can take some time. It's been 7 weeks for me, and I'm at that appreciation. So for today, thank you for joining in on podcast number 2. If you have any questions or comments, concerns, you know what to do. Leave comments below. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. We always got to sign off on that. Check out some of our physical practices on the yoga. They are up. We're going to try to do our best to keep those coming. And eventually I'm going to do a class on how to Ujjayi breath. It's something that if you are in the yoga world, if you take a yoga class, you've probably heard it, but they don't really teach you how to do it. And so sometimes beginner classes will teach you. So check out a beginner's class. Those are always good. But I'm going to bring that to you. And otherwise, have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Thank you for joining in to Dirty Moms Yoga. Namaste.